a man surprises you by sliding into your shoulder. You just about draw your sword when he quickly explains that a man by the name of Duke Guntbert von Goswin has sought your acquaintance. Sheathing your weapon, you tell the stranger to take you to him. If he's got business, he should tell you himself. The messenger nods and leads the way to the nobleman's house. Duke Guntbert von Goswin offers a stern hand to one of his chairs. You take a seat. The region is not safe. Traders are complaining about brigands and other threats along the road. He looks down, massaging his temples. As all my men are currently tied up, I need you to patrol the area. Travel to Oberberg, continue to Helvik, and then return here within 5 days. If you encounter any threats, make sure to take care of them. I won't be paying you for a stroll through the woods, mercenary. Payment will be granted per head you bring me. Okay, this is perfect. A nice open contract and a good reason to hit up Oberberg. That'll give us a chance to both clear our current inventory and make a fair chunk of gold in the process. To the tune of almost 2,000 gold. Yeah. If we can cap out that kill count. Oberberg to Helvik to Damwald. That's a nice tight circuit. Though obviously we'll stray a bit just to get those extra heads. Also, hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Battle Brothers Season 3. Since I am almost certainly going to cut out that first couple of minutes. We checked out the contracts in Damwald. There were 3 contracts available. 2 were terror contracts, which normally we would do, and I have put a pin in, but what we really needed was an excuse to hit up Oberberg, since we're currently full up. Ooh, camp-busting contracts. We are currently in undead territory, so I feel like that's probably our safest bet. And as silly as it seems, Wiedergangers are pretty much the perfect targets for a kill count contract, since you can technically kill each one twice. You reach the first point of patrol and order the men to take 5 while you count supplies. The patrol is only 1/3 finished. You wonder if you should stock up on more equipment before heading back out. Yes, that is actually a huge part of why we're here. Thank you, narrator. Oh, thank goodness, and the prices are much more ideal here. Damwald's a nice town, but double terror did not make them conducive to trade. Give me a sec to clear some space, stock up on essentials, etc. And we're back. Didn't clear quite as much space as intended, but that's because, while the prices here are decent, they're not great. So we're still sitting on our various trade goods and treasure items. Might as well grab these while we're here. And a small bit of food, as overpriced as it currently may be. Especially since we are now going to take this off the beaten path. Our next stopover is in Helvik, but we've got 5 days before this contract's due, so we might as well take the scenic route. And another non-combat retinue slot. So we need to get those filled, plus our overdue cart upgrade. And as far as non-combat retinue go, I think our next priority needs to be the Paymaster. That'll make it a mite bit easier to save up for our various other upgrades. We do want that recruiter too, but, you know, gotta focus on the necessities first. And here we go. Oh man, look at that. Many Reavers plus a Beastmaster and Unhold. We can take down an unhold, though we should probably revise our line a bit. Pull the particularly squishy backliners out. Swap in some hardier individuals. Main concern is just, once the unhold starts rampaging, it's inevitably going to punch through the front line and start wailing on the backliners. So you do want to be ready for that. Man, I really would like to get more XP for the lower level guys, but this is probably not the best fight for it. You know what we can do, though, is try this out. I'm still struggling to find the best way to use that Catal. So this time, let's essentially try pairing Zarmal with Rassel. Taking the scenic route on the second leg of their noble appointed patrol. The familiar sights of a savage hillfolk settlement spurs the raiders into action. It's nothing they haven't faced before. Or so they told themselves as they first approached. Right, so their Beastmaster must be tucked in back. We've only got 8 in view. The raiders grimly set themselves for the impending slaughter as bulky figures move to meet them. But they're given pause as one figure in particular towers over the rest. They've got a cave troll, Tommy utters from the back line. An unhold, actually, Rook utters from beside him. A weaker specimen from the looks of it. Though the simple fact that they domesticated it. Fascinating. Don't even think about it, Bowman shouted from further down the line, his own eyes locked on the towering pair of horns, bobbing and weaving behind the barbarian's front line. The rest of the Reavers ramble forward. The glint of a throwing spear, a wickedly barbed harpoon, finally spurring the raider line into motion. Rev is the first to dart forward, spear tearing through primitive chain. And he moves up after. A swing of the flail tearing the makeshift leather cap off her target's head. One by one, the rest of the raiders join the fray. Verlin moving to intercept the unhold, seemingly utterly unafraid of the towering behemoth. Axes and arrows begin to fly, shearing hide and shattering bone. And it's Rassel who lands the first telling blow, a colossal strike to the side of a Reaver's leg, taking the limb out from beneath him. On the south, perhaps unsurprisingly, the unhold almost casually hurled Verlin out of its way. Rook meets it gamely, and ever more emboldened, the raiders push back. Zarmal darts forward, eyes locked on his stunned prey. Curved blade plunging through tongue, palate, and into brain. The crack of a cruelly barbed whip rings out over the sounds of battle. Axes and arrows once again fly. A heavy hatchet nearly severing an arm. Revenant lunges past Diego, gouging deep into a gurgling Reaver's gut. Rook jabs past the awkwardly flailing Unhold. Another Reaver falls. Diego finishes one on the north. Annie smashes another's face, crushing both nose and spirit in one fell swoop. No point in stunning this one. Wow, Random is just not having much luck there. A wounded warrior turns to run, then tumbles. Throat slit. Bowman puts an arrow through a hand. Valen, an axe between ribs. Zarmal waves off Rassel. 2 swift strikes, a target hamstrung, then fatally hemorrhaging. A hatchet buries deep. Yet another Reaver brought to ruin. And the Beastmaster begins to tentatively back away. Whip cracking, guttural shouts driving the Unhold to cover his efforts to escape. Rassel smartly strikes the last remaining Reaver. The Barbarian Bludgeoner, stumbling drunkenly, stunned. Random finally lands a hit that leaves a skull splattered across the grass. Then moves to join the fray against the unfortunate Unhold. Half the raiders join him, squaring off with the massive monster, the rest running down its would-be master. Seeing the rest of their foes dispatched, Rook finally turns his full attention to the crudely armored Unhold, coordinating the assault. Tommy, nets! Valen shouts. Tommy blinks and nods, the thought perhaps never having occurred to him, fishing nets being somewhat foreign for a man born miles from any body of water. Though to be fair, I suppose they'd have nets in the arena, wouldn't they? I feel like nets were a pretty common gladiatorial weapon. Then again, maybe that's just an anachronism of modern cinema. A net is clumsily cast. The Unhold howls, the enraged brute finding itself entangled. Swift strikes score the Unhold's hide. It grasps awkwardly at the infuriating net, lashing at the raiders, but clumsy blows made all the clumsier, easily evaded. Seeing his beast about to fall, the Beastmaster makes a fatal misstep, juking behind a tree, perhaps seeking better cover. But Diego now has an avenue to intercept. Sprinting forward, Diego shoulder tackles the fleeing Beastmaster with his shield. Assailed from all sides, the beast itself falls. Weapons stowed, knives drawn. The rest of the raiders rally, ignoring the futile lashes of the panicked Beastmaster's whip. A frenzied moment of violence, and the master is no more. And look at that, we got the hat. Which, sadly, isn't super competitive. But it does get points for style, so, you know, I'll try to fit it in somewhere. Aside from that, a few other side grades I'm seeing here. Some decent sales fodder. Unhold bones. We can certainly use those. Yeah, like, I'll have to double check the stats on the Thorned Whip against our battle whips. We haven't really gotten much use out of whips just yet, but that is apt to change as we start encountering Orc Warriors and Barbarian Chosen. Though in theory there are points where I really should remember that Drakiith has one. Like when we are knifing people. We could have Drakiith just standing off to one side on dedicated disarming duty. Honestly, I should probably fit whips onto more of our characters' loadouts. I have heard some people suggest giving them to every pole armor. So maybe we'll do that. And full up with some halfway decent prizes. Shame we didn't get any named items, but, you know, I'm pretty happy with this haul. Not to mention, of course, it's always nice to encounter something new. In this case, our first trained unhold. Gotta say, really impressive show from Rook there as well. That 30+ defense coming in clutch. Man, I really want to give that new horn hat to Random. We do need to upgrade his headgear, but that would put him over the 15-point threshold for Nimble. I'll think on that. You know, a 3-point overflow isn't terrible. Alright, let's head for Tonder over yonder. We'll lighten our load, then just follow the road back west towards Helvik. Oh, and let me swap out our wounded real quick. Just to make sure we keep cycling raiders into the fray. Tonder, currently being terrorized by Alps or Hex. I'd love to help them, but alas, we're already under contract. I really do wish you could take more than one contract at a time, but, you know, that's just how they balance things out. No point in trading here. We'll try our luck in Agerstead. Oh, hello. A motley mob of marauders. Are you trying to intercept us? I mean, obviously we're going to take them out. This actually seems like a pretty good target for some of the lobies. Let me just flip some folks around here real quick. Yeah, that looks good. Are they actually following us? Because if they are, I'm going to hit Agerstead first. They are indeed. Okay, well that works out. Oh, and look at that. We've got actual decent markups. Alright, give me a sec to clear out some cart space. Then we'll go knock out those ne'er-do-wells. And we're back. Line rearranged, incremental upgrades in place. Let's knock out that next group. They still out there? McLeod asked as the raiders began their exit from Agerstead. Yeah, they're just standing out in the snow, menacingly. Arrow nodded, squinting into the distance. Pretty sure they plan to attack us once we're back out on the road. Ha! They can certainly try, Random laughed. The rest of the raiders shrugged and nodded, stepping out to face the waiting storm. A casual shot from Arrow makes it clear the raiders have spied their erstwhile ambushers. And just like that, massive, shaggy hounds bound from the snow, crashing into their waiting shields. The thralls aren't far behind. The first poleaxed by a pair of hurled hatchets. The second staggering, a bolt protruding from his eye socket. The Reavers move in next, using their fellows' senseless sacrifice as cover for their approach. The rhythmic beat of drums drives them ever forward. Oh, shoot, right. Forgot the snow was slowing us down. Yeah, that's the one real downside on this particular map spawn. I was really hoping it would be bisected by some road terrain. That would have made things slightly easier on us. Cetra steps up, a slash of his sword splitting a Reaver's nose. Random's right there beside him. The crunch of cartilage as flail meets face. Verlin moves in, securing the raider's flank. The lines are set, first blood drawn. The battle begins in earnest. Whew, thank goodness for nimble. Axes lob over the raiders' line, some finding their mark, but none particularly telling. The raiders push back, trying their best to read their enemy's rhythmic movements. Head bobbing suddenly in time with the drums. Rev suddenly lunges, and a Reaver gasps and falls. Another raises an axe, but Val beats him to it. Hand and the hatchet it was clutching, tumbling to the snow. Verlin runs the last thrall through. A fearsome kick sends Rook reeling back into a nearby snowdrift, which actually buys him space from the enemy that was menacing him, so, you know, I think we're all fine with that. A Reaver's head snaps back, bolt buried between his eyes. Rook returns the favor on the south, carving a Reaver's face open with his pike. Trip likewise breaks another, dagger digging between his ribs. Setris pushes past his panicked foe, lashing into the axeman behind, as Verlin once again clears the flank. And he beats one down on the north. Random on the south. The ceaseless drumbeat finally ceases. The crude concussionist fading frantically into the forest, as his forlorn fellows meet their fate. Though with McLeod on hand, that drummer's not necessarily out of the woods just yet. A shot from Alois creases the ear of a stunned savage. Rev runs another through, wheeling off to the side to dump his carcass in the snow. Setris deftly clears the last. And Warrior is unleashed. The panicked percussionist paddles through the snow, the bay of the fearsome beast at his back. But try as he might, he cannot escape. And he too joins his abandoned allies in the afterlife. Nothing super notable, but we did get some bone sets. As odd as it might seem, that is actually a step up over some of what we are currently wearing. Alright, one sec, whilst I once again clear some cart space. Then we'll figure out these level ups. And we're back. Ranks refiled, incremental increases in place. Some perhaps slightly more dramatic than others, though all ultimately intended to help our characters fulfill their new specialized roles. And none more notably so than Setris, who of course has now become the fabled wielder of the trusty Crusher, a weapon of some acclaim recovered from an enemy camp not too long ago. And of course he'll also pursue the path of the Battleforged, but that's a bit beyond his reach for the moment. For now, we'll just tide ourselves over with Hammer Mastery. And then I suppose, Brawny? I'll have to give that some thought. I hadn't really planned on having a Hammer Bro. Thankfully, our throwers are much more straightforward. Tommy at 7, that means Nimble. And then for stats, we're going Range, Initiative, and Fatigue. As for Val, we've hit level 9, so it is very important for us to lock in those last 4 perks. Normally we'd only have 3 left, but we took Student. That perk effectively deactivates at level 11, and once again frees up the slot. So with just 4 slots to play with, as much as I hate to say it, I think we are going to have to leave Fearsome and Overwhelm by the wayside, and keep our throwers, at least, completely focused on the art of efficient killing. Thus, my current thought is Duelist at 9, Killing Frenzy at 10, and then Berserk and Recover at 11, since you really can't have one without the other. The only real downside, of course, being that it does mean eschewing a number of utility or defensive perks I might have otherwise considered. That will make it all the more important that we get some proper shield bros trained up. Still very much a work in progress. Though, in that regard... Actually, wait, let me get Val's stats done up real quick. We'll take range, we'll take initiative. And you know what? What the heck? Let's take that resolve. That'll take us over that 60-point target, so this will be the last time we increase Val's resolve. And then yes, as far as shield bros go, I think we'll go ahead and make it official. We'll make McLeod our third aspiring shield bro. We need someone who can swap in for Diego or Verlin when one or the other is otherwise indisposed. This will also buy Diego some extra time to train up. Although his defense is superior to McLeod, his offense is really struggling. So we'll slot him in center, toss him a training sword, let him get another level or two under his belt. And we do need to find a kennel while we're up here. I think I'd like to make Warhounds Shield Bro standard. One for every Shield Bro. But that will have to wait, because as I was taking care of all this bookkeeping, I stumbled upon this. Rumors of a potentially haunted camp, the Jerts of the Ancestors. Which, given our current circumstances, would actually be a perfect potential target. Not just for our current contract, but also for our current ambition. And given that it's somewhere northeast, and we're about as far northeast as you can go, it should be pretty easy to track down. So we'll push up here, we'll step up the mountain a bit, get a good view of the surrounding area, and hopefully, with any luck, make progress towards multiple goals. Oh, and speaking of goals, we've got the cash for it, so let's go ahead and bank that new paymaster. Not the most exciting hire, but one that I think will help our bottom line. That's a slight reduction on our day-to-day overhead, but perhaps more notably will also discourage our greedier members from demanding extra pay. Hasn't come up yet, but it is inevitable. That's Alois and Verlin both, I think. That's it. Let's go find stuff to kill. Really hope it's closer rather than farther. I'd rather not have to poke all around Tonder. Oh, hey, here we go. Jerts of the Ancestors. Oof, Warhounds. Following rumors from nearby Agerstead, the raiders crest their eyes looking for the so-called undead camp, spoken of by superstitious city folk. As the camp comes into view, however, Alois, still favoring his injuries from the last fray, scowls. Those are not but men, not monsters. The locals should know the difference. How would they? Diego responds. I doubt they leave any locals they encounter alive. Cetris nods grimly. Then a glance to one side as he points at a group detaching itself from the distant Jerts. Are those barbarians headed for Agerstead? It would appear so, Alois admits grudgingly. Well, lads, best we get to work. And no Warhounds. Nice. Granted, Reavers are a mite bit more dangerous for the rookies, but hey, that also means better potential loot. The raiders intercept the Reavers atop a snowy rise. Crossbows twang, bolts lost in the dusky twilight. Mark draws a bead, squinting with his unnatural night vision. But his shot falls short. Bowman might have made the shot, but the veteran militiaman is lagging behind, keeping an eye on the main camp, whilst the raider rookies dispatch the rest. Sensing the vulnerability of their position, The raiders rush forward, seizing the advantage while they still can. Though wary of inadvertently exposing their back line, the Reavers surge forward, willfully walking into the Raiders' trap. Zarmal darts in, plunging his curved dagger through a thrall's hand. A heavy impact drives Random backwards, the crack of bone sounding out, but thankfully not his own. More bolts sail overhead, but still none find their mark. Diego slashes a thrall, then kicks him, sending him tumbling down the snowy rise. Annie catches a warrior in the face, nose crunching. Rev impales the noseless ne'er-do-well on the north. And the fight rages on. Spying an opening, Zarmal surges forward, cutting one down, slitting another's throat in passing. An axe from Tommy leaves an arm hanging by a thread. A second toss, its bearer dead. Diego finds his shatterproof great shield shattering. That's slightly perturbing. Rassel steps up, bashing a barbarian bludgeoner in the face. Rev rallies to Diego's aid, giving him the opening he needs. The first strike prizes through armor. The second, flesh beneath. Cetrus crushes a Reaver's ribcage. Misery compounded as Verlin likewise runs him through. A Reaver tries to run, only to end up with Verlin's dagger in his back. Though Verlin does briefly pay the price, armor tattered, before he can turn his attention back to the spearman at his side. Tommy skips a stone off a scoundrel's scalp. Rev impales the last of the thralls. The man run through, but still somehow squirming. And the raiders hasten to finish the job. A shot from Mark, putting one down. McLeod's spear, another. And Cetrus the last. Took a few bumps and bruises, but nothing too serious. Obviously not much to write home about as far as loot goes either, but we'll take it. That's still, I want to say, maybe like 500, 600 gold. And you know what? We're running a bit long, but let's go ahead and knock out that camp while we're here. Should be an easy target, especially after it spawned that patrol. And then that way I can head back to Eggerstead between episodes. Get our inventory sorted off screen. You know what? That's a little silly. Let's just have a wider backline. I mean, really, we don't have to overthink it, I suppose. 'Tis but thralls. I don't think these guys even have warhounds at this point, which is a bit of a relief. Not because we can't take them, but, you know, because it causes unavoidable stress damage. With the Reaver patrol dispatched, the raiders quickly rejoin their fellows, carrying crudely tanned hides and tattered armor as disguise to shield their approach. Alas, they're still met with suspicion, the thralls, of course, having not expected the Reaver patrol to return so soon. But it does at least get them close. And crude disguise is cast aside. Subterfuge soon gives way to simple slaughter. Yeah, this is going to be pretty sad. These poor guys don't stand a chance. The motley mob of malcontents spill forth, soon met by a volley of projectiles and the most eager of the raiders. The raiders rush in, focusing on those prepared to throw. Rev shears off an ear. McLeod, a few fingers. Verlin stabs a spearman's hand. Cetrus swiftly following through, hammer splitting the spearman's skull. Projectiles patter across the primal line. An axe catching a thrall in the chest. Impact bucking his body to the ground. But the thralls boil forward nonetheless, the thought of retreat never even seeming to occur. Crude spears and sharpened antlers clatter off the raiders' shields. One thrall circles wide. Too clever for his own good. And the raiders push back. Trip severs a spearman's vein. Drak splits another's face in twain. Diego finishes the bleeding spearman. Val freed up and quickly returning the favor. A hurled axe slopping the hand from another spearman. Bowman picks off the far too clever flanker. Rev impales yet another. McLeod puncturing a shoulder. Wrestle crushing ahead. And Cetrus yet one more. It's barely even a battle at this point, and yet the Thralls still fight on. Admirable in a way, even if self-destructively so. The Raiders might even be tempted to let them flee, if they had the common sense to do so. But alas, they don't, and so they don't. More blows exchanged, more bodies felled. The sodden snow churned to bloody slush underfoot. A few more seconds of frenzied violence. And the camp falls silent. Bleh. Always love that one. And we're good. Yeah, not much of a fight, but we weren't really expecting one. And we did get what we set out for, which is level ups for the rookies. Plus some halfway decent loot, considering how easy the fight was. Sadly, no famed items, but the odds of finding one of those this close to a settlement were slim to none. That said, let's go ahead and knock those level ups, and I think we'll be at a good place to call it. And let's get you guys ranked up. That's Diego, Mark, and Rassel. Mark up first, level 5, so that's obviously crossbow and firearms mastery. We do need to get ourselves back down south at some point, so we can actually pick up a couple of guns. One for Mark and one for Alois. Then Rassel, who hits level 7, so that's nimble. That's a no-brainer. Though we will not neglect his defense. We will still bump melee, we'll take that max roll in defense. And then initiative. I was tempted to go resolve, but I think he's okay at 50. And Diego also hits level 5, so that's shield expert. And stat-wise, hey, look at that. We'll take the max melee, we'll take the max defense, and, yeah, I think we've got to take that resolve. As an aspiring tank, we definitely have to shore that up. 50 minimum, but preferably higher. And that's it. Level up's complete. Which just leaves the post-battle bookkeeping, so I think this is indeed a good place to call it. Since, obviously, we'll just be headed back to Agerstead. Clear out the clutter, hopefully start pushing ourselves back towards 10k. Which shouldn't be too hard. We're due like 2k from that patrol contract. We'll hit the pause button for now. We'll get us back to Agerstead, take care of the usual rounds of bookkeeping, and we will pick up here next time as we continue our current patrol, get that resolved, and then just kind of figure things out from there. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Erie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.